We got a CFexpress card to work on today, something that I have seen before. It's something that I haven't covered on this channel yet, but I really wanted to. And today is the day. So the client is in urgent need of the data that's on this device. So let's help them out. For that, I'm gonna need this adapter right here. Okay, it's bought this on Amazon. I'll include the link for you in the description. See, I power on this unit. We don't have physical status. The back cover comes off fairly easily on these devices. There's like two little tabs. I already pulled it. The name of the customer is there. I don't want to kind of have it exposed, so let's keep it secret. Remove that part, and now we have this board on the inside. What it looks like is here. So we got 1, 2, 3 memory chips, 4, and controller. This controller, guys, is actually very similar to the one that was on the video that was posted right there. It's the SSD that was going to cost $3,800. 50K views. I love it. If we look here, we got Phison 5012 controller. But in this case, what we're dealing with is a little bit more fresh. Is 5013. We got two holes right here. If we short these out, the device is going to go into a safe mode. Alright, so now we have a permanent connection on there. We don't need to look for it again. Power up. We go into the utility now, and because we got this PHY light come up this time, we can try and see what's going on with this device. So how do we do that? This is a Phison controller. So we're going to look for a utility that has a Phison controller on there. Something about this device that immediately started to give me issues. From what you're seeing on the screen right now, for whatever reason, when the device was in the safe mode, I couldn't enter the utility. It would just run that taskbar all the way to the top and not get anywhere. Later, that problem was solved by downgrading the current version of PC3000 portable to a previous one. I've worked on cases like this before. I know for sure that this solution works. So that what gave me extra confirmation that this can still be done. I just need to figure out a correct way. So I've downgraded the PC3000 to a previous version, and I plugged in a working card. That's something that I could control and make sure that it's running the way it should be running. So let me close everything up, enter the utility again, and this time you guys see that in a safe mode, it didn't hang up, it didn't hesitate, it opened up the utility right away, and now it is just trying to obtain basic information from the device and populate that information into the utility set. So here we can choose which loader to use. I picked a random one just to see how the process is going. And from what I can tell, the test gets completed. We're gonna ignore all those red messages that are on the screen right now. I don't know exactly what they mean and how they affect the current process, but this card has been recovered by these exact same scenarios. The only difference is that this specific card had been worked on quite a while ago. So there's been many new versions of PC3000 portable developed since then, and because there's been changes, we don't know how they affect the development of the case. But here we see that a loader loads up, test is completed, and we can begin building the translator. So let's swap our patient card back in it, power it up, and try the same method. So select the loader and try to load it up. Test is completed. Things are looking good. At this point, right there, I should have ran a NAND test, but instead I went and started building a translator table, the process which takes really long time. All right, so I've been witnessing something extremely strange taking place. So instead of running the original case, I swapped it out with a donor unit. It's the exact same card that I've located from my inventory. The only thing is that this card has already been recovered, so I know at some point in time this technique had already worked. Now I don't know how much more time we still need to wait until I confirm whether or not this card is going to get rebuilt again. But it seems like something is actually happening right now. This case I started working on last Wednesday, and today's Monday. And luckily, this PC3000 Portable 3 for the last week wasn't needed urgently for something. So I could actually spend a bit of time trying to figure this out. First, I started thinking, okay, well, I know for sure I've solved this before, so what could be the problem? Every now and then, when new tools get developed, some features may get broken and we need to roll back to the older version. Report these bugs to the developer, and they take necessary steps to put fixes up for those bugs. I went and found the ticket that was related to the client that I already solved this problem for before, and I looked at the date, and the date was 18th of February 2022. I ended up rolling the software back to that date, and the version was installed, but that wasn't the end of all the issues. Okay, yeah, so this is the SSD extended FISON SSD support for PS5013 PCI Express and NVMe controller was added. Okay, on this on that release. And that news, if we go back here, is 17th of February 2022. In my notes, I mentioned to the client, we just got news from developers that our tools now have support for 5013 PCI Express and NVMe controller, which is used on your card. We'll be testing it next week. We started testing it, and I don't have any notes, unfortunately, about how long the process took, but it was successful because there is a thumbnail report that I sent afterwards. The version 7.0.25 did succeed with this card. I'm losing track of time with this case already. That's how long it's been. But needless to say, on the counter up here, it turned to 0 2 times. Which means 24 hours passed. For the next time when you come across 5013 FISON controller, just be aware that this may take a lot longer than you anticipate. Creating a translator can sometimes roll into infinite periods of time. So as opposed to creating a translator feature, select Save to File. For the translator, got to a point of service block scanning. Went through it quickly, uploaded, loaded up, bad pages, counted them up, filters were applied, analysis was done. Looks like we got our size and use space, perfect. Translator was built, completed, bada bing, bada boom. Looks like we're in. Looks like we're in finally. Make that a copy and to virtual disk, and let's try to image it. It's cloning something, but it is also running into a lot of issues. So in that moment, I really just felt like giving up on this case and closing it up. But luckily for me, I pressed on the card with my thumb to see if it's going to make any change right around the controller area. I looked everywhere for the footage because I did make a comparison on how the NAND test would come out before and after. This controller right here is loose, so pushing down on it, even with my finger, started to produce different results during the NAND test. So in order to make that push connection more solid in a permanent way, I had to use something like this to lock it in and apply pressure on it constantly while it's getting imaged and the translator is being built. Now, this controller consists of 2 layers. There are 2 chips stacked on top of each other, and there is some nasty underfill around it, so I really didn't feel like going into the rebuild process on this device. The moment of truth. This has been building for like 4 days straight, but overall, from what I can tell, this is not looking too bad. I'm gonna need to open up a new task. Virtual disk is our target drive. If we have a chance at getting this solved, this will be solved now. Seems like the drive is able to read, and the data is being produced, and there is actual data. Perfect. So if we go into the directory, the directory should list a partition exFAT. Beautiful. R5 is something that I think is looking very promising, and let's go ahead and map use space by bitmap. So this unit is full. It's 120 gigs of content that's in there. So there we have it, guys. This was probably the most time-consuming single SSD case of entire 2023. Looking back at the edit, I don't think this editing job is doing any remote justice to how nerve-wracking this case was, because honestly, the amount of times I wanted to give up on it is countless. I mean, I kept saying to myself, well, if this doesn't work, I'm done. If this doesn't work, I'm done. And each one of these steps was bringing me closer and closer, but also kind of like growing my bank of time that I already spent on it, making me just, you know, really hate to give up on it. Knowing that I've done it before, knowing that it should be working, then why the hell isn't it working, right? It made me think on what kind of similar situations I've been in my life where this is really almost exactly the same kind of emotions and tests that you're putting yourself through. And it was really close to my younger days when I used to skateboard, and you would go out and skate and you try a new trick or a trick that you just learned and you don't get it consistently. It's super tough to land that thing every single time. So most of the day goes by you busting your shins and bruise yourself all over the place by not landing these tricks, but you keep pushing yourself forward. I feel like a lot of the stuff that I use in my daily life, not just data recovery, but my personality, had been kind of forged from those early skateboarding days when you really push yourself to do harm to yourself in order to achieve something, you know? It's like, and you keep going and you keep testing yourself and you keep pushing yourself. So looking back at things, I'm really glad that's how, you know, I spent my early teens, and that taught me a pretty valuable life lesson. But needless to say, the contents of this card were carrying a tremendous value to the owner of the card, who is a videographer, to the couple that the wedding belonged to. I understand that, first of all, the videographer would get into a ton of problems if he does not produce this content. I understand that the couple that got married would be extremely upset if they don't have it, and nobody's going to redo their wedding just to get these memories for their album and things like that. So I really wanted to help. And the guy who sent me this job, we go way back, you know, we've been working together for many years. I really would hate to disappoint, especially in my conscience, knowing that this was doable, but I just didn't want to get heavily involved and get it done. This is just the type of person that I am, guys. So if you lost your data, link in the description will take you to our website where you can request that. For everybody who watched this, I thank you. Thanks so much for spending the time. Like this video, put a comment below for the algorithm. I'd really appreciate it. And I'll see you all in the next episode.